Bodyboarding is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. From beginner level all the way to professional, the sport is growing at a rapid rate. Whether you're just starting out on a bodyboard or the next big thing, the sport has one thing everyone has in common: fun. And on a bodyboard, the fun and enjoyment is unlimited. In this exclusive bodyboarding instructional DVD, you'll have Damian, Australia's two-time world champion, to help you learn more about the ocean and take your bodyboarding to another level. Bodyboarding is a spectacular way of riding waves, and with Damian's help, you too could be the next
world champion.
Bodyboarding isn't just a sport, it's a lifestyle. This lifestyle has given me so many amazing experiences. If by watching and learning from this DVD I help spark the fire that starts you in bodyboarding or takes your bodyboarding to another level, then it's all been worth it. Remember, being in the ocean is all about having fun, and you can only have fun when you feel safe and understand the ocean. And that's the first key step to becoming a better bodyboarder. Without understanding how rips, waves and other dangers might work, you'll never really know how to deal with those dangers when they arise. And to talk further, I caught up with Senior Head Lifeguard for Port Macquarie's Hastings Council, Tim Ferris. Now, I know it sounds like a pretty obvious question, but what is the purpose of the flags?
The purpose of the red and yellow flags is to just provide a safe swimming area for people. The flags represent the best place to swim because these are the most closely monitored by the lifeguards or the volunteered lifesavers.
What advice would you give to bodyboarders who just rock up at the beach and want to go out?
Yeah, take your time, have a look at the ocean. Maybe while you're putting on your sunscreen, have a look at the ocean, look for those set waves, see what's happening when those sets come in, where the water's moving, how that's going to affect where you want to bodyboard or swim.
So how important is it to swim or bodyboard with a friend?
It is so important to go swimming or bodyboarding with a friend. Not only are they there to enjoy the bits of getting barreled together or seeing a really rad move that you do, they're also there if you get into trouble. There's someone there who knows where you are, whereabouts you last were. So really important, make sure you go with someone.
What advice do you give to people if they do get caught in a dangerous situation?
Yeah, stay calm, that's the most important thing. Look, there's people, if you're at a patrol beach, there's people there that will come and help. There's lifeguards, volunteer lifesavers. Stay calm, stick your hand up and someone will come and help you.
How important is putting sunscreen on?
Oh, it's so important. Remember the old slip, slop, slap? We've added a couple of extras to that one. It's slurp and wrap. While you're at the beach, put on some sunnies as well as the sunscreen, the long sleeve shirt, okay? And make sure you drink plenty of water, stay hydrated while you're at the beach.
How important is it for a bodyboarder to start wearing flippers?
Yeah, look, as you get more skilled riding your bodyboard, it is really important. If you start getting out the back and don't have fins on, I recommend it's time to maybe go grab yourself a set, because it's really important when you're on your bodyboard to have fins when you're in a bit of deep water. Just they help you manoeuvre on the waves, they help you get into the waves easier and help you if you're in a rip, to get out of that rip.
Well, thanks for that, Tim. Well, you've had the best in the business give you the advice. Tim Ferris, Senior Lifeguard of Port Macquarie Hastings Council. The do's and the don'ts when you hit the water. That pretty much covers it here for surf safety. Now we get on to tips and techniques. Tips and techniques is the foundation of good bodyboarding. Without learning the correct technique in the beginning, you'll always have problems with your riding in the future. To talk further, I caught up with 2008 Australian champion Chase O'Leary, and he took us from the basics all the way up to advanced manoeuvres. Well, this is the start of the tips and techniques section, and we're going to go right to the basics, which is learning how to paddle a board. I've got Chase O'Leary, he's 2008 Australian champion. Chase, how important is it just to know how to paddle a board?
Well, paddling a board is pretty much one of the most basic things you can do, so if you can't paddle a board, there's no point getting out there, I reckon.
Well, as you can see, Chase is just starting to get ready now. He's putting his flippers on. That's one of the most important things, is basically having the right equipment too, and you can't go really bodyboarding and not have a pair of fins, so you need a pair of fins that are going to fit you well and good materials that aren't going to give you sea ulcers. So one of the first things is about just sitting on your board, so you're flat on your board and you're centered in the middle position. As you can see here with Chase, he wants to keep his weight in the middle, and if he starts to move on the side of his board, the board's going to want to spit out each side of him. So the main thing is just to focus on your body being in the middle of the board and not letting it slip out each side. You want to have the two hands on the front of the nose of the board, but you want to push back on your board a little bit so your hips are in the water so your feet can kick. So you want a board that only ever comes up to your belly button. Otherwise your legs aren't actually going to be able to get in the water from your hips. So the main thing is you hold the nose of your board, you make sure the board doesn't go any further than your hips. That'll let your legs drop into the water. You keep your legs pretty straight and you just keep them underwater kicking. So the next thing is speeding up your movement in the water by using your other arm as a paddle. It's a little bit tricky because you set your weight off a little bit, so it's only something you do once you're comfortable with sitting on the board. What you want to do is you want to use your legs as your balance, so by kicking hard. As you're kicking hard, you'll put your other arm out in front of you and extend it as far as you can and drag your hand through the water. And you'll also keep your other hand firmly on the nose, and that'll also help you stabilise. This is something you'll need to practice, and over time you should pick up. The next tip we're going to look at is duck diving. Duck diving is essential for surfing because if you don't get out the back using your duck dive to get under whitewash, you won't be catching waves. Chase is going to demonstrate how we're going to do it. So basically we're level on our board, as Chase is. You want to put both your hands, slide them back a little bit on the nose of your board. Then you want to put your weight up near the front of the board and push your nose down in the water. As you push your nose down, you push your legs into the tail of your board and dunk your head in all in one motion. Use your legs to balance the board out, and then use your legs to push the nose back up. So when you go underneath a wave, you'll push your nose down before the wave, come underneath the wave, and then push back out the back. One of the biggest hints with duck diving is before the wave comes to you, paddle hard into the wave. That way you'll have momentum to push you through the wave and back out the other side. Well, that's it for the basic stuff. We might go to the beach now and learn what to do when riding waves. Well, we've left the river and now we're at the beach, and one of the first things you should do when you ever get to the beach is putting on sunscreen. As you can see, Chase is putting on a layer of sunscreen, and I always recommend do a layer of sunscreen first and then do a layer of zinc after that. It's kind of like you don't really think too much of it, but getting burned is probably one of the most dangerous things you can actually do going to the beach, and you only really know that after about 10 or 20 years of surfing. So you want to make sure you get all those spots that you don't really think about, like the back of your neck, your ears, the back of your hands, because it's not just your face that gets burned, it's anything that's exposed to the sun. So before we get into any technique, we're going to go through a quick stretch at the beach. Now, it doesn't have to be that long, 5 minutes at the most. You actually don't want to stretch too long before you go surfing. And if you want any more advanced stretches, there'll be a section later on in the DVD that has full advanced stretching program in it. So right now it's just a quick stretch. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to try and stretch every muscle from his head to his feet, just quickly. Just get the motion going of using the muscle in that direction. So the first one's rolling the neck slowly. So if you just put your head down and just let the weight of your head drop, and then just slowly let your neck just roll around to 180 degrees, and then stop right there, come back the other way, and then go the other way back around, just slowly working your neck the whole time and just feeling any tight spots. So it's just feeling a little bit looser. Okay, the next quick stretch we're going to want to do is do our arms. So we're just going to come down on one knee like this, put our arm across our body like that, and just use your knee as a resistance to just lean in and push the stretch like that. You're also getting a little bit of a lunge in here too, so you're opening up your hips a bit. And you'll also be getting a slight stretch in your lower back in here. Next stretch you want to do is clamp your hands like that and just push your arms, extend your arms back. Push your arms back so you're feeling a stretch up in the top part of your muscles. This is all good for doing inverts and other types of maneuvers as well. And you'll be opening out your shoulders in this stretch and also opening out your chest. After that, rotate your shoulders one way and then another way. Just gets the balls of the joints working and gets them used to being in those positions and starts getting a little bit more flexibility in your body. And you want to repeat that on the other shoulder. So far we've stretched his neck, his shoulders, his arms, and if we're working down the bottom, we want to stretch his lower back a little bit now. So I've chased his lies down on the sand. If you pull your legs up and just start rocking your legs to one side and then another, just gently rocking your legs, you'll feel the stretch all in here, which will be good for like reverses, backflips, every maneuver pretty much you can do with bodyboarding. This will just loosen the lower back up a little bit. And if you want to increase the stretch, if you pull your legs up like that and just start dropping the legs back down again, you'll feel it a little bit more, but just be very gradual with it. And if you want to further increase the stretch, whichever way you move the legs, you put your head to the opposite direction, just keeping the head straight, like that. And then if you move the legs, the head spins around the other way, like that. So we don't want to do that for too long, we just want to, again, get those muscles flexing in those positions so when you do go out for your first maneuver, you don't get into that position at a fast speed and end up doing injury to yourself. So the next thing we're going to stretch is our hamstrings. So if Chase just gets to a seating position and just leans forward, tries to keep his back straight as much as possible. Now it's okay if you can't grab your leg, it's all right to bend your knee because what we're stretching is this muscle here. So if you bend your knee and hold it there, that's fine. Or if you can go further, then grab your leg and straighten your knee, as Chase is. The main thing you want to do is you want to open this chest up at the same time as well and keep your back as straight as possible. Remember, you're only stretching the hamstring, you're not trying to stretch your back. The next thing we're going to stretch is your quad. I've found one of the best ways of doing that is just by pulling your leg up like that, balancing with the other arm, and you can just feel the stretch, like that. If you're getting a little bit rocky like Chase is, you can also get down on the ground, go onto one side of your body, straighten your leg, and stretch it like that. The next stretch we're going to look at is a hamstring stretch. So we've pretty much stretched our whole body and now we're just finishing off with our hamstrings. The best way to do this, I've found, is by getting down like that. So we're just supporting ourselves with our arms here, keeping the body as triangular as we can. And you should be able to lean into the stretch and feel it stretch in here. After we do that for 5 to 10 seconds, we then swap over and do it on the other leg. Again, that was just a quick stretching routine. You shouldn't stretch for too long before you go surfing, otherwise you end up getting cramps. You want to do your stretching the night before or a day before or so, but take a bit of time to do a bit of stretching. As you'll see later on in the video, there's an advanced stretching program that I do recommend everyone do, regardless of how much you go in the water at all. It makes you feel great, keeps you fit, and always get you ready to go surfing. What we're going to look at is how to hold the bodyboard. If you're going on a right-hand wave, you want to have your right hand on the nose of the board and your left hand either dropping down from your shoulder or coming off your hip. And on left-hand waves, you just reverse it by having your left hand forward and your right hand back.
I'm not trying to tell you what to
The next function we're going to look at in holding your board is where you should hold it on the rail. I believe if you hold the board further back on the rail, it's better for bigger waves. It gives you more controlled lines, it gives you more drive when you're doing long bottom hand turns towards a section, and it gives you kind of a better style in bigger waves.
about what the future holds. I'm not sure I'm gonna fit into your molds. I'm just speaking for myself.
However, if you're surfing in smaller waves, I think it's more functional to bring your hand up slightly more on the rail, as it gives your board more responsiveness. Your bottom hand turns come more off the tail, so you should get a little bit more speed. And manoeuvres such as inverts and backflips are a lot easier to do because you're holding the board further up the nose and you can throw your tail out more.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. I'm not trying.
The next thing I'm going to show you is how to get good lines on a bodyboard. Lines are probably one of the most important things you can get. It gives you all your speed, gives you your drive, sets you up for every manoeuvre, and also assists in surfing bigger waves.
Say my love is true. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not worried about what the future holds. I'm not sure I'm gonna fit into your molds. I'm just speaking.
To get good lines, it's all about using your legs and coordinating that with your rails. So if you have a look here, if Chase is going on a right-hand wave, he needs to activate his inside right-hand leg. To do that, or one of the better ways to do that, is by pulling out his outside leg, and naturally the weight will go down on his leg. He'll also get less drag on the outside leg too because it's no longer in the water, and it'll give him a strong line through the water. And to reverse this, he just do the opposite for left-hand waves.
Not trying.
This is also really helpful if you're doing cutbacks or reverses or anything. As soon as your weight transitions onto the other rail, so should your legs. First manoeuvre we're going to look at is forward spinners. Forward spinners is one of the most popular and common moves in bodyboarding. They can be done in the air, in the barrel, in competition surfing. They're a must if you want to learn how to bodyboard, and we're going to go through it now. What he wants to do is he wants to take off on the wave and start to gain speed. He's then going to bottom hand turn onto his elbow and slide his weight up at the same time turning his head around over his right hand shoulder and lifting his legs. And he starts to rotate into the forward spinner. As he comes around and out of the forward spinner, he will then put his legs down, which will grab him back into the wave, and then he'll continue along to go into his next manoeuvre. Remember, with most manoeuvres in bodyboarding, or nearly all the manoeuvres in bodyboarding, whichever way your head is facing, your body will follow. So that can be for pretty much every single move. So that's an important note to remember. The next move we're going to look at is reverse spinners. They're a very popular and common move in bodyboarding, alike the forward spinner. You can do them in the air, you can do them off the lip, you can do them even in small waves obviously, and right now we're just going to learn the technique of how to do a correct reverse spinner. So we're going to simulate again going on a right hand wave, and what you want to do is you want to do your spinner on kind of like a shoulder of a wave to start off with. So where it's not too steep and it's not too flat. We're going to go up to the top half of the wave, and then as we get up there we're going to transition our weight from our inside rail over here to our outside rail over here. And we're going to do that by pushing back on this hand and pushing our back tail of our outside rail into the wave's face to give us that arcing, carved kind of feel that we'll use the momentum for that to spin off. At the same time we do that, we're going to turn our head around, because again, whichever way you turn your head, your body will follow. Also at the same time, we'll be pulling our legs up, crossing them, because it makes the body feel tighter and it brings it all into one. And we should start to get a spinning momentum coming around. We will continue spinning, and as we start to move out of the rotation, we'll put our legs back down into the water, which will give us bite back in our inside rail and continue us along for the next manoeuvre. Next thing we're going to look at is the cutback. Cutback is a very simple manoeuvre, but yet really effective and a lot of fun. They look a lot easier than what they are, but a good cutback should draw out a nice clean line, and you should be able to come out of the cutback with as much speed as you go into it. And what you want to do is you want to get maximum speed. So you want to get along the wave, maybe hover up to the top part of the wave so you can get as much speed as you can, and then you want to find your section which you want to do it on. Ideally, the best part of the wave to do a cutback is in a nice open face, where you can come up to the top of the wave and start to make your way down the wave, cutbacking with it. So what we're going to do is we're coming off the inside rail, as we are here, looking for the speed, looking for the section down the line, and as we see that part, we then transition our rail again to the outside of the rail, and we start to slowly carve into the cutback like that. As you start to carve in, you'll look for the point where you want to finish the cutback, where you'll then go back onto the inside of the rail. Again, your legs are very important with a cutback. As your bottom hand turning towards that open face section, you're going to be pulling out your outside leg. That'll again create less drag, activate your inside leg, which will give you a good line. Once you're up to the top of the wave and you change your rails to your outside rail, you'll then pull out your outside leg, which will then activate your inside rail and give you less drag on your outside edge. As you finish the cutback, you'll then put that weight back again on your inside rail and lift out your outside leg. So it's a matter of coordinating your rails with your legs and using a nice clean arcing turn with the speed that you just gained. Barrel rolls are a very exciting move. They can be done in small waves like today, and they can be done in waves up to 10 to 12 feet. The key with barrel rolls is having the right angle at where you hit the lip and timing it perfectly. And what you want to do for a good barrel roll is you want to look for the section that you want to hit and eye it off. See that section from a long way away and know where you're going to hit it. As you start to go down the wave's face and make your way up towards the lip, come at about a 45-degree angle. That way when the lip hits you, you'll project out off the lip and into the flats. So as you come up to the lip, you'll time it perfectly, so you're just on the corner of where the lip's pitching and the shoulder of the wave. As the lip hits you, you'll get projected out into the flats, at the same time extending your arms and landing out in the flats. You want to hang on tightly to the board and look for the next section. Obviously the conditions are pretty hard out here, the waves are small. However, these are some of the best conditions you can get for perfecting your technique. So, whereas the big waves might look good and the good waves might look good, this is where it all happens. This is basically the drawing board where where you learn everything you can learn and then you take what you learn here into better waves. So as bad as this looks, it's actually pretty productive for what we're trying to do. That wave is really good at chase, not just for the roll, but before he went into the roll, you see he pulls like a high line, and that high line then allows him to generate speed when he comes back down into the wave. So it's not just about doing the manoeuvre, it's about setting yourself up for the manoeuvre, and with that particular one, it was the high line before the roll that gave him that much projection out of the roll. The next move we're going to look at is invert. What you want to do is you basically want to time that section perfectly. So you want it to be just beyond vertical when you hit it. So as you're bottom hand turning and you're eyeing off that section that you want to hit, you start to make your way up the top of the wave. Your nose will hit the top of the lip as it starts to project out. Your nose will run over it and then the rest of your body will glide off the top of the lips. As that happens, you arch your body and put your top hand so your board is horizontal. At the same time as your legs might start coming out horizontal as well. Let yourself glide and flow into the invert. And as you start coming down, brace yourself by pulling your board back down level, landing in the flats or in the whitewater and letting the whitewater spit you out into the front part of the wave.
What was the motivation? Drifting away, where have I gone? What was the destination?
The next manoeuvre we're going to look at is a backflip.
Boxes TNT. The label reads, please handle carefully. Use only what you need. Oh yeah. One match was all it took. Now there's a million pieces left of me. Can you fix everything? Oh yeah.
Backflips are considered probably one of the most spectacular moves you can do on a bodyboard and one of the hardest. The key to doing a good backflip is having the right wave. And I always suggest having a wave that you're almost going faster than the barrel. So you're coming and you're out racing the tube and you're going faster than the tube and you're coming up and out of the tube, out of the top corner of the pocket of the tube. And then you land in the flat section and then turn it around and keep going. So the key is to coming up on that 45-degree angle as you come upside down, tilting your head backwards and allowing your whole body to come over and your legs to come over your head and land flat out into the flats. Once you're in the flats, you can either try and turn yourself around just by using your momentum, or you can use your leg to put in and turn yourself around. That's about it from here. So that's the tips and techniques covered. I hope you got something out of it. There's a lot in it. And again, don't be too discouraged by the conditions, because all we're learning is the techniques that you can apply in better conditions. Equipment is very important. The King board range has been designed for entry-level participants all the way to guys who want to become professional. However, when you start riding into bigger waves, like 6 to 8 feet waves, and doing manoeuvres in bigger waves and pushing your board even further, you'll need a more durable board. These are available at surf stores. And to learn more about it, we went and had a look at the Turbo Factory in Port Macquarie. We're here in Port Macquarie at the Turbo Factory. We're here to discuss high-end signature models that can be bought in surf stores, and there's no better person to talk to than the head shaper, who should be just in here, Glenn Taylor, and we'll see if we can pick his brain for some more info. What's happening?
Not too much, mate. I'm actually knocking up one of your boards at the moment.
Oh, perfect. We want to just see if we can ask you a few questions on the differences between high and low end boards and what goes into it and the quality and the materials and all the rest of it. So have you got 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure, mate. Fire away.
So what's the main difference between the King board range and the Turbo board range?
Between the two board ranges, the major difference is the material makeup. Basically, better durable cores and better deck and slick materials.
So basically the core's better, and how's that relevant to riding waves?
Well, by having a better durable core with better deck and slick materials, the board can now withstand in surf conditions from say 8 to 10 feet. For example, big airs, inverts, the boards can withstand a lot more of a beating, and yeah, it definitely lasts longer in more extreme, heavier wave conditions.
When riders do want to step into, say, surfing Hawaii and doing big manoeuvres and tow-out surfing and all these different types of high-performance things that put stress on the board, it is worth them going into a surf shop and having a look at some of the higher quality products out there like you explained before.
Yes, so most definitely I think when the guys feel as though they're progressing in bodyboarding and they need to step it up another level, that's when they do definitely need to go to the surf stores and grab hold of one of the high-performance signature models, which will definitely cater for bigger manoeuvres, heavier surf conditions.
We both worked on the King board range, but from a designer's point of view, what do you think the purpose of the range is?
Basically, between the 4 or 5 models that we designed in your range, we've catered for the entry level, for guys that virtually haven't been in the water before and I want to get started in bodyboarding. We've gone through the next 2 models which cater for the guys that have been surfing and they feel as though they want to progress a bit more. And then with your high-end signature model in the King range, which is a contour deck, double stringer RCL core, which is a very durable board, designed and able to withstand a fair bit of a beating. It's for those guys that feel as though they are progressing in bodyboarding and they're willing to take it or wanting to take it to the next level.
Well, thanks, mate, for spending a bit of time with us. I'm sure you enlightened all of us a little bit about what goes into a bodyboard and the different levels of quality and how that suits the riders. So yeah, cheers.
Yeah, well, thanks guys, thanks for calling in. Actually, I better get back to it.
Another huge aspect of bodyboarding is competition surfing. Competition surfing is not only good to improve your riding by competing against other riders, but you'll also meet people there and make friends. I caught up with the local Port Macquarie Bodyboarding Association's monthly competition just to find out a few more basics about competing and a few techniques that might help. Well, we're down here at the Port Macquarie Bodyboarding Association local club contest. This is going to be a great place just to show you the basics of how contests work and a few tips on how to get through heats. Basically, a contest is a 20-minute heat where 4 riders go out and 2 riders will progress. Out of the 4 riders in each heat, each rider has their own coloured rash guard. They are then judged in that 20-minute heat by a panel of 3 or 4 judges, and the top 2 riders of that heat will either progress through the next heat or the quarters, semis or finals. Probably one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give someone when they're competing in their competition is to build on your scores. What I mean by that is if you have a look at this scorecard, you have a look at, say, the rider in white. His first wave he got a 1, his second wave was a 5, and his third wave was a 4. It's only going to be your 2 highest scores that count, so that'll be his second wave and his third wave. So any score after that needs to be higher than a 5.5 or higher than a 4. Going this wave, which is only a 1, going his 5th wave, which is a 4, going his 6th wave, which is a 4, aren't going to count. So it's important when you're catching the waves that you know basically what 2 scores you're on, and you only catch waves that build on those 2 scores. It's pointless catching more waves that actually don't build up those top 2 scores. So a great strategy to have is to know your own scores when you're catching waves. Know those top 2 scores that the tallies are going to have, and then build on your scores from there. So if you have a score in your head and you think maybe I got like a 5 and a 4, you need to get a 6, something more than a 4. Beat that last score. Don't actually even catch a wave that's underneath that 5 and a 4. If you look at a wave and you just want to catch a wave, you're wasting your time and you're putting yourself at more risk, because when you catch that wave, there could be a set wave that comes in that would have beaten that 4. So the main thing is know your scores, build on your last lowest score. The second thing is basically sets. Sets will give you a lot more points than any other wave. So it's important, obviously, to get your wave tally up or get your top 2 scores up, but at the same time you need to get sets. So a good thing that I usually do, maybe 15 minutes before the heat, is time the sets. Sets are something that will come through regularly. And if you time the sets, you should be able to gauge approximately when the sets are going to come through. And that way you'll ensure that you're on one of those sets and you've got a better chance of getting a high score. Another piece of advice that I reckon is good is when you go out in the heat and the hooter goes, you want to basically get 2 waves pretty early on in the heat. At least then you've got 2 scoreable waves that give you a bit of a foundation that you can build off from there. I've seen a lot of heats where guys only get 1 good wave and all they needed to do was get another wave. So if you get 2 waves, so for instance you get 2 waves of like a 5, that's 10, opposed to if someone got like a really good wave of a 7 but didn't get a second score, you're still going to beat that person. So I always suggest try and get those 2 scores early in the heat, and then as you get through the heat, get a little bit more picky and try and lift those scores up towards the tail end of the heat. Well, I thought I'd ask some of the grommets themselves what they thought of just being involved with their local club. So we've got Cody and Zach. Fellas, what's it like? You've been in the club for how long?
3 years.
And what's the advantages of it?
Improves your bodyboarding a lot.
So having it every month and stuff, what's that like? Because then you go away and you free surf and then you come back to the contest. So how does that help?
Yeah, you just try do really good when you're in comp surf and then do it when you do the comp as well.
And who wins out of you 2 guys?
Me.
Got any strategies for the final?
Just go out there and bust some big moves.
Fed him heaps of lolly so he gets a stitch.
Oh, perfect. Well, I've dragged Jimbo, our club president, for a couple of questions. Jim, what does the club represent in your eyes?
It's a great outlet for the young kids in the area to get involved in a good, healthy sport, Damian. You know, they come down and practice every day, and then we put on a monthly comp for them. Gives them a chance to get together and compete, and you know, same as what it'll be at the state or the national titles.
And I suppose it's not just about competing, is it? It's about it's a social thing as well too.
Yeah, for sure. All the parents get involved, and we all have a great time. It's a great outlet for the kids and parents to bond and just have a good day out once a month.
And how do guys get involved in being in their local club?
Well, most of the local guys can get a hold of us in the local phone book and things, but basically if you just look up Port Macquarie Bodyboarding on the website, or you can look up Bodyboarding New South Wales.
And it's not just for experienced riders, anyone can have a go at the club, can't they?
The most influx is new guys each year that are just learning, and you know, by the end of the year they're doing their spins and rolls, and they progress to AA level the next year and they start doing fancier moves. So certainly come in at the learner level as long as you can swim and you're not going to drown on us. That's the main criteria.
Thanks, Jimbo. Well, there you have it. I can't stress it enough. Get involved with your local club. Again, get on the websites, find out where your local club is. Don't be afraid to go in, even if you can't even bodyboard. That's what it's about. It's beginners all the way to professionals. And without it, you'll never be able to compete on a world tour level. You know, for me, it was a huge asset to have a local club that I could practice on a monthly basis against all my friends. And besides that, I've met some great people who I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. So, you know, you've got nothing to lose, get amongst it. Everyone wants to know about big waves because it's probably one of the most extreme things you can do on a watercraft. I'm not a guru at surfing big waves, but I have had an opportunity to surf some big waves all around the world. You need to be prepared for what the ocean can dish up at you. I believe the key is with big waves is your attitude and your frame of mind. You need to have a positive frame of mind when you go into big waves. Don't think of the negatives like wipeouts and other dangers that can occur out there. However, be aware of them at the same time. But think of the positive aspects, getting blown out of a big tube, taking a big drop or doing a big air. Automatically you'll change your frame of mind and you'll get positive about going out and surfing these big waves instead of being negative. The other key thing to remember is training. In the next chapter there'll be a stretching program that's for elite stretching and basically will condition you a little bit better for big waves. Obviously one of the other dangers with surfing big waves is being held underwater. I recommend you take up swimming or snorkeling or even spearfishing. These sports will increase your lung capacity and make you feel more confident with being held underwater. Technique's also very important in surfing big waves. You see a lot of guys go out there, they might be psyched, they might have done their training, but if they haven't learnt the right technique, they're going to end up getting wiped out as they can't get a strong rail. What I mean by strong rail is using your legs as extensions of your rail, similar to what we talked about earlier in the tips and techniques section. With using your legs as extensions of your rail, you'll create a stronger and more defined line. For example, if you're taking a big drop on a wave, you'll use your inside leg as an extension as your inside rail. This will prevent the board from sliding out and wiping out. This will give you a stronger line, more speed, and overall a better technique in bigger waves. With the right preparation and the right frame of mind, I'm sure any of you can surf big waves in the future.
Welcome to the stretching part of the DVD. Stretching is relevant for everyone. Obviously this is a bodyboarding DVD, but whether you work in an office or you're an athlete, stretching is really important for your body. Today we're going to go through a few stretches, and again, don't push yourself into the stretches too much. Just do it till you feel comfortable and you'll get the most benefit out of it. People commonly make the mistake of stretching muscles that don't need to be stretched and not stretching ones that do. What I mean by that is certain muscles in your body will be tight and certain muscles will be loose. You'll only know this when you're going through your routine, and you'll be able to feel what muscles are tight and what muscles are loose. I strongly suggest you only stretch tightened muscles and avoid stretching loosened muscles. That way your body will end up being more balanced and you'll feel better for it. In this stretching program, the first 3 stretches are based on your neck. Your neck is something that gets jolted all the time in bodyboarding. Whenever you're doing airs, reverse airs, your neck always cops a beating. Stretching your neck correctly will prevent injury. Every stretch seen in this stretching program should repeat it on the other side. For example's sake, I've just done one side, but make sure it's done on both sides. The first stretch is a neck side flexion stretch. Sit with good posture on your fit ball. Open both hands out so your palms are facing up. Use your opposite hand to gently draw your head away from your anchored shoulder. Inhale and gently push your head into the hand for 5 seconds. Exhale and immediately lean further away while depressing your shoulder. Then gently move your head and neck further away from your shoulder. Hold the stretch position for 5 seconds. The next stretch is neck rotation. Stand with good posture. Rotate your head to one side. Place the opposite hand on your cheek. Inhale and gently rotate your head into your hand while keeping the hand firm. Look in the direction that you are turning. Hold for 5 seconds and exhale as you look behind you and rotate your head into the stretch. The next stretch will stretch up the back of your neck. Reach one arm as far out between your shoulder blades as you possibly can. Take a deep breath in and hold for 5 seconds. As you exhale, look down as far as you comfortably can towards your shoulder. This next stretch helps stretch the back of your neck. Maintain an upright posture, either sitting or standing, and let your head drop towards your chest. Place one hand on the back of your head and one on your chin. Tuck your chin in and gently stretch the back of your neck by drawing your head towards your chest. Take a deep breath and lightly press your head into your hands without letting your head move. After 5 seconds, relax as you exhale and gently move your head towards your chest. This stretch is for your chest, and it's a particularly relevant stretch to bodyboarding. It's great for opening up your chest, and this is what you need when you're riding waves. Place your forearm on a Swiss ball. Keep your shoulders parallel to the ground and drop your body towards the floor. When you reach a comfortable stretch, inhale and press the forearm into the ball for 5 seconds. Exhale and move immediately into the stretch. There should be no pain felt in the shoulder joint. This next stretch is a slight adjustment to the one you just did. It opens up the front of your chest even more. Place your shoulder on the ball instead of your forearm. As you drop your upper body downwards, allow your shoulder blade to move towards your spine. Inhale and press your shoulder into the ball for 5 seconds. Exhale, lower into the stretch position. Keep your torso parallel to the floor. Bodyboarding is very demanding on your spine, and with a lot of the manoeuvres that you have to do, you need to have a flexible and a strong spine. This stretch will help with that. Lie on your back and bend your left leg with your arm on your side. Gently push onto your left foot so that you just barely lift your pelvis up. You should use as little effort as possible. Imagine you have a puppet string attached to the front of your pelvis that is lifting you up. Perform 10 to 20 repetitions, progressively rolling your pelvis over and lifting just one vertebrae off the ground with each repetition. Lower the vertebrae one at a time in the opposite order. Make sure to relax. With each rep, allow your hips and chest to open up. You want to do this slow at breathing pace, 10 to 20 times each side until you roll on your side. The next stretch is a back and abdominal stretch. This is also really good for bodyboarding because this is the position you're in quite regularly. And you can tell just by the position it'll help with backflips, airs and anything acrobatic on the bodyboard. Perform this stretch on a non-slip surface. Sit on a Swiss ball and then walk your legs out and roll backwards until you're lying on the ball. Extend your arms over your head. To increase the stretch, slowly straighten your legs. Hold this stretch for 1 minute. This next stretch is an oblique stretch, so basically it stretches right up the side of your body. Again, it's another good stretch for doing manoeuvres with bodyboarding, particularly inverts. Sit on a Swiss ball and carefully roll down the ball onto your side. You may use a wall to anchor your feet. Grab the wrist of your top hand as your arms are extended over your head. Gently begin rolling the upper body forward and then backwards while slightly tugging the upper arm down. When you feel a tight area, inhale and gently attempt to side bend back up, pulling against your lower arm. You do not need to actually move, just activate the muscles. Relax into a stretch position as you exhale. The next stretch we're going to look at is a squatting stretch. It's good to relieve a bit of back pain and also stretch your glutes and your calves. Start by standing in a comfortable stance next to something stable. As you can see here, I've used a tree. Squat down until you're completely relaxed, letting the tension out of your back and letting your torso rest between, but not supported by, your thighs. If you can do this without hanging onto anything, that's great. If you're too tight in the ankles, knees, butt or lower back, you can hold on to something stable as I am here with the tree. Gently rock back and forth between the balls of your feet and your heels for 1 minute. The next stretch is a Swiss ball quad stretch with a lunge. This is relative to bodyboarding. As you're doing spinners and you're pulling your legs up, you're stretching your quads. Also, when you're doing inverts and airs, you're stretching in the same position that you are here seeing the lunge. Start the stretch by beginning in a sprinter's position with the foot and ankle of the leg stretched on the ball. Slowly rise upwards. You may want to place one hand on the ball or a chair for support. Draw your belly button in towards your spine, rolling your pelvis under so that your back flattens to increase the stretch. Begin to move your whole pelvis forward, keeping it square to the front. The second part of the stretch is to put your arm up, which is on the same side as your bent leg, up and over your head, grasping it with your other hand to further increase the stretch. Hamstrings are one of the biggest muscles in your body and so important for bodyboarding. It's what we use to kick into waves, paddle out the back and get us out of situations. So to stretch the hamstring, lie on your back with a small rolled up towel, or I've used a t-shirt in this case, underneath the belt line of your back. The towel, when compressed, should be the width and thickness of the fattest part of your hand. Grab one leg with both hands just below the knee, extend the toes back towards your shin and slowly straighten your leg without letting the thigh move in your hands or letting your back come off the floor. Hold a comfortable stretch for 20 seconds. The next stretch is a groin stretch. Again, this is a really important stretch because the groin is what always gets worked when you're bodyboarding. Pretty much nearly every single manoeuvre in bodyboarding, you're stretching your groin. To stretch your groin, assume a kneeling position and spread your knees as far out as you comfortably can. I'm just on the grass here, but you can use a yoga mat also.
He cuts deep, yes, he cuts deep when the risk is great and the talk is cheap.
So I hope you enjoyed the stretching routine. If you want more information, I suggest this book. It's How to Eat, Move and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. It's got a bunch of useful information, plus all the stretches that we're going through, and some other core exercise programs. Well, I hope you've learnt something out of the Damian King Instructional DVD, and thanks for watching. Again, bodyboarding's just about having fun. It's just about going surfing like this guy down here. And for me, I'm going to lead by example and go out and catch a few little wedges.
Bleeding dry. That's a word that you'll never see my face again. Oh, come a little bit closer, maybe we can be friends. You can't catch me on the midnight land. I got a secret that you won't understand. Be in the land, don't be in the sea. Well, it's a red flash like for me. You like me up, I'm gonna rattle my cage all night. Wolf and you're my little reggae.